Welcome to the On Purpose Investor Podcast show number 59. How average daily action leads to extraordinary results. Many think successful people got lucky or reached it big overnight. But do you think Steve Jobs or Robert Kiyosaki woke up one morning and went from nothing to their massive businesses? Or do you think professional athletes just decided to have a six-pack and it appeared? Boy, do I wish. So why do you think the same thing will happen with your goals and your dreams? Why do you look at successful people and think it just happened for them and they got lucky? We all know professional athletes train for hours every day, and most successful entrepreneurs had a period of struggle, like living in a car or working from a garage. If you keep thinking that success is an event that comes to a few lucky people, then you will never find the levels of success you know you're capable of. So, what really happens to successful business owners or athletes? They work hard each and every day at one small thing, and it compounds over time to leading success. Do you want to keep setting goals and wish you could have your dream life? Or are you ready to take action and find the secret to lasting success? Keep listening to find your path to big change through daily action. You like that?
I did. Yeah. I mean, at the On Purpose Investor, we're all about small action leads to big results.
Yeah. It's small little daily things
Yeah.
that you do every day that, every day you're doing them, you don't really think something big's about to happen.
Right.
But, 6 months after you start doing something little every day, you look back and you're like, whoa, I don't even recognize myself.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, I know lately we've been really digging into personal education.
Right.
So that we can learn what we need to learn so we can show up for our listeners and our students.
Right.
And we recently launched our masterclass. And part of that was this really cool visualization that you did.
Oh, I absolutely love doing it. And I've probably listened to it on my own like a dozen times.
You're doing your own visualization.
I am doing my own
That's
visualization. Great. And it is such a great one.
Yeah.
Because it really walks you down this path of seeing who you will become if you set forth taking action daily.
Yeah.
It can really be scary because they are so successful.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, to those of you listening, if you're interested in getting this visualization, send us a DM on social media and we'll get you a copy of it so you can listen to it.
Let's say the code word on this one, let's say forest.
Okay. Because the visualization is you're going into a forest. And
yes.
There's a shift that happens, a
there
transformation in your identity and how you view life and things. And I personally have not listened to the whole thing, unfortunately, yet. Having two kids slows me down a lot, slows us down. But we've been doing a ton of work internally on ourselves and in learning how to teach this stuff to other people. And I think I'm realizing how important mindset is. Like when it was new, mindset was important. When we launched Dream Life, that was all mindset focused. But I feel like the versions of us that taught Dream Life were like babies learning this stuff. And now we're like in elementary school. Like we're figuring a little bit out, but we're still not masters. So we're working on honing our crafts and every day learning something new about ourselves, about each other, and I mean our kids, everything.
That's right.
Like constant growth. But it's that small daily action of taking 10 minutes a day to read a book that will lead to this huge transformation.
Right. So the small daily action that I'm taking is I used to think these visualizations, these hypnosis events, these different woo-woo things were just, honestly, it was like, go and see the quack.
Yeah.
Not a doctor, but a quack. And I always thought like, was that really going to do something for me? And for the past couple of weeks, I've been doing some type of visualization or just some type of, we call them hypnosis, right? And that's what they are. But honestly, it's not like the clock swinging in the air.
Right.
It's just letting go.
Yeah.
And it's being able to really hone into what's happening inside of your mind.
Yeah.
And I've been doing something small every day. And since that, I have just seen so much personal growth. And I've seen how I have shifted my existence in life around you, around our kids, how I interpret the business, how I see the business. all the things are changing. And it's because I've allowed myself that little time every day to go in and be true and honest and open with myself in these visualizations,
Right.
and just letting go.
Yeah.
And that's a very like mind heavy daily action type thing that I'm seeing internal changes, but there are things that you can do external to take daily action and see massive results.
Yeah. I mean, it's like we were at Kroger and saw some $6 aviators, and we're like, we both need a pair of aviators. But when you wear those glasses versus your regular sunglasses, it's a different view.
It is.
And it's like you've changed the lens of how you view everything,
right,
through the work you're doing. And same for me. And I firmly believe over the next few months and weeks, the On Purpose Investor podcast is going to have a transformation into being a little bit more woo and a little different. But I hope you come along with us on this journey, because it's the journey we're on. And we're seeing a huge transformation in ourselves by going down this path. And I mean, one big transformation for me is I've started going to see an acupuncturist, and it's the weirdest thing, like getting a needle put in you, and it's like, this is going to change me. But I went in with like cavity fillings just done, and my jaw was so swollen. And literally in 20 minutes of having a needle, I don't even remember where she put it, but I left and my jaw was fine. And I didn't even know how much pain I was in. And it's that pain to change that you don't know that you have until you change. And you're like, holy crap, that sucked. Like, why was I dealing with that pain?
Right.
And not changing and not taking the pain of a needle. It doesn't hurt that bad, but it's not the most comfortable thing to have a needle put in your body sometimes. But the relief that I had in that, it transmutes to life. And sometimes the pain to change is greater than we want to experience, but the pain of staying where we're at, it's just not worth it.
It seems easy to stay where you're at.
Yeah.
It seems easy. Even if your life is a constant struggle.
Right.
Because that's what you're used to.
Right. And there's a lot of the woo that comes into that, of your subconscious wants to keep you safe. Your ego within your subconscious tries to keep you safe. And what it knows is safer than the unknown.
Right.
And we'll have a whole episode on that coming up soon, I'm sure.
Yeah,
but
we're going to really dive into how these things have shifted our mindset on where we're headed in life as a couple, as a family, and in our business.
Absolutely.
And I'm super excited to share like my transformation, because I was a huge skeptic of it.
Yeah.
And still, I still have a skeptical mind of it, because I want to make sure I'm not just buying in and, drinking the, what do they say?
Kool-Aid?
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. And I don't want to just be drinking the Kool-Aid.
Right.
I want it to actually be meaningful.
Absolutely.
And I approach it with a very skeptical mindset of, I'm going to give it everything I have, but I'm going to be honest about the results.
Right. You were the guy that would not sing in the church band until you were confident that the words you were singing resonated with you.
Right.
So you're not going to stand up on a platform and say, you should do XYZ until it's something you are fully embodying and living.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's been consistent in your life. So
right.
I don't, that doesn't surprise me what you're saying. It's news to me, but it's not surprising. So a lot of what we're talking about today comes from the book, The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. Great book. It's super basic in a way. Like it's simple stuff that he's teaching, but it's that daily action leads to just such big results. Like you might look at someone and think, oh my gosh, they were an overnight success. But what you don't see is like years and decades of turmoil and transformation and shifts that happen that led to something happening, quote unquote, overnight.
And most of the people that listen to our podcast probably know Robert Kiyosaki.
Right.
Like that is a go-to name in this industry.
Absolutely.
And Kiyosaki wrote the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, like 10 years prior to it making it to a best-selling status.
Right. Well, and he and Kim are such a success, but they lived in their car.
They went bankrupt.
Right. I mean, they lived a hard life. And you look at like Steve Jobs, Apple, what a big company. Holy crap. Like,
yeah.
Who doesn't have an iPhone besides me? I'm that weird person. But
well, we're producing on a Mac. So.
Yeah. Right. But you think of what Apple is, they didn't work out of the garage, but they did hang out in his garage.
Him and old Steve Wozniak.
Yeah. So people have these humble beginnings. And you think about like professional athletes, like the gymnastics group. Like, you have a friend who his daughter does gymnastics, and she works her butt off.
They have been posting about their daughter being in gymnastics since she was probably 2 or 3 years old, in different, tumbling classes and all that. And I think she's probably 10 or 11 now, and she has been doing it for almost 10 years.
Right. She might be 12.
Right. And she is just now getting to the point where they are doing these big open events of, these are like the pre-quals for the Olympics.
Right.
And it might seem like, you would have to be pretty ignorant minded to think, oh, that gymnastic person, I bet they just started tumbling last month or something like that.
Yeah.
But, it takes a lot more time than you probably give it credit for.
I mean, you think about Tiger Woods or any professional athlete, like they live, breathe everything, that sport.
Yeah.
Every day.
And in order to live and breathe and be and embody that thing, I guarantee you they had to give up so much.
Absolutely.
To be able to do that. Because you can't go be a, minor league baseball player for the rest of your life because it doesn't pay. Well, and if it does, it doesn't pay well.
You can, I guess. I think some people do, but I mean, I think it comes down to consistent action and working your tail off, and that being their one thing that they focus on.
Right.
But I also want to say, you can't compare your chapter 1 to Robert Kiyosaki's his chapter 50.
No, not at all.
Or our chapter 10. You have to recognize where you are in the stage and not try to get in a comparison trap, which is a little bit off topic of today's episode. But I just want to say, like, your friend's daughter who's been doing it since she was 2, if you start at 10, you can't compare yourself to someone that's been doing it for almost a decade.
Even if you're the same age.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. We all are on our different paths and we all have different goals.
Right.
So I guess I want to give a thought of recognize where you are. A great book that just came to me is The Gap in the Gain.
Yeah.
And the point of that book is, it's Dan Sullivan and Benjamin Hardy, I think, also wrote it with him. And it's acknowledge where you have come from.
Exactly.
And yeah, you might not have met your goals for this quarter, but acknowledge what you've accomplished, and not just in your business. Maybe something personally happened. Consistently, I'm like, what have we been doing with this business for the last 6 months? And then it's like, oh yeah, I've, had a 3-month-old and a 2-year-old while you were on army deployments by myself, and continued pushing on the business. So yes, the business might not be where I wanted it to be after Q1 and Q2, but our personal life has evolved and we accomplished a lot personally.
Right.
So just acknowledging the gain instead of focusing on the gap.
And the gap is always going to be there.
Right.
If you are a go-getter and if you have large dreams, there's always going to be a gap. But to feel confident about what you've achieved so far and to feel good about the work that you've put into what you're doing, just take a minute to just stop and take a look at where you came from.
Yeah.
No matter what you're doing. And to go back to the comparison thing, it doesn't matter what age you start doing whatever it is you're trying to do. It is never too late to get started, and there's always a place to go.
Absolutely. I'm working with a client right now, and he's frustrated that he didn't hit his goals for this quarter. But he got married. Like, of course you didn't hit your goals. Like, you had this huge major life event happen. Celebrate that. And his horse had a baby. So if you're listening, hey, but you know who you are. But his unexpectedly had a horse baby.
Yeah.
And you can't plan for that kind of stuff. So he might not have reached his goals, but he's still on a path, and he's doing the daily action that it takes to reach that goal. So yeah, I mean, it might look like sometimes luck and circumstances and outside environment might lead to things that lead to that transformation.
Yeah.
But it's really that daily action.
Yeah.
I mean, the friend of yours his daughter does gymnastics, like, circumstances definitely helped. The parents recognized a talent in her early on and took action and helped set her up to be in a circumstance where she could do that. But it's also her commitment and daily action that's leading to her success.
Absolutely.
So for us, like, we might not have parents who taught us real estate as young kids. We certainly didn't.
Nope.
But it's our daily action that has led to where we are.
Yeah.
So one example I feel like it's so easy to apply it to health. So if you ate a Snickers bar every day what would your life look like after a year?
It probably wouldn't look that great. I mean, you'd probably put on some weight.
Absolutely. So it's about 215 calories a day.
Yeah.
So that's 1,500 calories a week.
Right.
It's about 1.85 pounds a month. About 22 and a half pounds a year.
I think after a year, you would notice the difference.
Absolutely. But if you think about it another way, if you found a way to work out and burn 200 calories a day, what could that lead to?
Right.
Losing 22 pounds a year. I mean, in theory, I know health, it's not exactly translated that way. But
if you maintained in your caloric intake and burn was the exact same every day, that could look like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, now I really want a Snickers bar, but I really don't want to.
But that's 22 and a half pounds.
I don't want to look back at the end of 12 months from now and be flabbier and say it was because of a thing that took 5 minutes a day to do.
Right.
It was super easy to do.
And you probably were like, I know, when I eat food, I'm like, let me eat this. Oh, wait, I needed to go do this. And you're not even like enjoying it.
No, it's just this secondary thing. You're not even hungry.
Right.
And at the end of it, it's just habit.
Right.
So what if you replace that, like you said, with some type of exercise? Like maybe it's just you get out of bed each morning and then you just lay on the floor and you stretch.
Yeah.
And then you do some bicycle kicks.
Right.
Or you do, 20 sit-ups and some push-ups.
Absolutely. I
know you wouldn't do that, but
the Fitbit 10 minutes till the hour alarm, it's really funny. Like if we haven't been active, we're both like, it's
Yep.
10 minutes. I call it the fatty alarm, where it's like I need to get up and move.
Yep.
But it's like you're supposed to hit 200 steps, I think it is.
I don't know. I think
not a lot.
I think it depends on your target.
Okay, you can change it, but it's not a huge target. But like they want you moving every hour, so you're just getting that action, and it makes a huge difference on your life.
Your analogy with the Snickers bar is so incredibly relevant because everyone on this planet has maybe not on the planet, but most people have probably had a Snickers bar.
Most people in the U.S.
have probably had a Snickers bar.
Absolutely.
And understand that it is probably easy to eat a Snickers bar.
Oh, yeah. Those Snickers ice creams are
dangerous.
Yeah.
Let's not go into the fact that you didn't even know they were in the freezer.
Yeah. Life's been hectic. I thought I ordered them from Kroger. I did not. Then I thought I ordered them on the next round, and I guess I did. And then I put them up. And you're like, do you want one of these? And I was like, wait, I actually got them.
Right.
And I've eaten half the bag now.
It's okay. It's all right. No judgment here.
Okay.
I know you've been through hell and a half.
I'll probably eat one tonight, and it's going to be delicious. And I'm going to be intentional while I eat it, though.
That's right. You're going to intentionally add one Snickers bar to your caloric intake.
And it's probably more than the 215 calories.
Yeah, there's ice cream.
It's so good. Anyways.
Right. So, this really applies to everything you do.
Right.
It applies to fitness, obviously, because we just came out of the Snickers conversation and gaining weight and all that. But it can also, let's talk about how this daily action can lead to these massive changes in your life, like in your work. Like, let's say you're a mechanic and you know that you work on certain kind of vehicles all the time. If you did the daily action of getting the manual or the Haynes manual or some type of workbook to help you understand the things that are commonly wrong with these vehicles, you could probably cut your time working on these cars down in half if you spent 10 minutes a day reading toward it. Or let's say you're an analyst, at some kind of business.
I can tell you because you're talking to me.
Yep, you're analyst.
I had mentors early on in my career show me some Excel shortcuts that save me so much time now. I mean, you've seen me work an Excel sheet. It's like annoying.
Like magic.
It's annoying how fast.
It's annoying to me, but not annoying. I'm like annoyed that it takes me so long to do it. But watching you, it's like you're a wizard.
Right. But it's these little tricks that I learned early in my career that, Alt ESV gets you the keyboard shortcut for pasting. Like,
that makes no sense.
Right. But to somebody that knows Excel, that makes sense. Or if you're in Sheets, Control-Shift-V, keyboard shortcuts make all the difference. Let's paste values.
That sounds like
I know, but
hoopla.
If you could streamline things in your job, that would free up time for you to read a book,
Yeah.
Imagine that compounding.
And it's scaffolding. It scaffolds. There, it doesn't scaffolded. It scaffolds.
What do you mean?
Because let's say you do something that makes your job a little easier.
Right.
And you get more successful at your job.
Right.
That has now opened up time. That has now opened up space. And what you fill in that space with is very important.
Absolutely.
And you fill in that space with something that gets you ahead in another part of your life. Let's talk about the wheel of life. And we talk about, if you don't know what the wheel of life is, send us an email. We'll send you what the wheel of life is. But you are lacking in this, let's say the family portion of your life. If you're able to save hours at work
or 10 minutes,
and that 10 minutes, you can use it to send, let's say little sweet messages to your wife,
or put a note in your kid's lunchbox.
Yes.
You write that note in that 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And you stick it in their lunchbox that night.
And then what happens there is it's great because you have now added to another section of your circle of life.
Absolutely.
And then what does that do for that other person that you're adding to their life? Right. They're now added to, they're now feeling better and encouraged and empowered. And they're going to start showing up for you in other ways, which, oh my gosh, we could go down this whole rabbit hole of they now give you more of their time, which frees up even more of your time.
Right. I think all of that boils down to why we do this podcast.
That's right.
Because at the end of the day, if we can help somebody make their life better and get them financial freedom, then they can pursue passion projects that will make the world a better place.
Right.
And it's like super soapboxy and obnoxious, but at the end of the day, that's what it's about. Like, we're here to help people. We could take our time and go flip houses and make a ton of money.
Yeah.
And it'd be a hell of a lot easier than what we're doing with this brand and this business. But the impact is so minimal. We've seen impact with flipping houses. You think about the lake house that we had.
You help your local economy.
And that family, like, you made a huge impact on them. But I think being able to show up for people in Greece, all you people in Greece listening,
That's right. We see you in Greece.
But we're here to make an impact.
Right.
And we want you to make an impact.
Right.
So use the time that you find to do something impactful. Don't go shopping Prime Day or whatever big sale there is.
Right.
Put your time into something that's impactful and meaningful.
Right. And so some other daily actions that you can do in a different part of your life is relationships. Tiffany and I just went through something pretty major in our lives, in our relationship. And I've been making very incredible effort into our relationship on a daily basis.
Absolutely.
And I trust that this daily action is going to lead towards just the best life we could have ever hoped for.
Yeah.
And that daily action that you can put into a relationship can be, taking a task off of them.
Yeah.
A small task. It could be as simple as, emptying the trash can in y'all's bathroom.
Right.
It could be as simple as
hold on.
I know it's full. It's slap full. I know.
It's like it's overflowing right now. I'll let you know next week if he empties it.
I'm going to do it right after this episode.
As long as the kid's not awake.
But, other things like, we've gone through this big thing and I'm making these daily things of trying to show up for you.
Yeah, but even before the big thing, there were things that you were doing to show up.
Right.
And it's been hard because you've been gone for most of this year. But I think for us, a big shift came through Fair Play.
It did. Absolutely.
And I can't advocate it enough. Like, most of our podcast listeners are male. And there is a burden placed on women to be showing up in the workforce, showing up at home, and showing up for your spouse in a way that there's no way women can carry the burden that is placed on us by society, because we don't talk about dad guilt, and I'm sure there's a level of it, but mom guilt is so heavy because we're expected to show up and be all these things, and it's an impossible burden to place on one person.
I think it's expectations of women have changed, but expectations of moms have not.
Right.
And it's like, be a mom, but also live in this new expectation of what a woman should be.
Right.
And you can't do both.
But dads have not stepped up.
Dad's expectation haven't changed.
I don't include you in that because you see the
I see
the shift and the transformation. But the Fair Play book, video, like documentary, all of it, the cards, all of it helps you see their mental load is a thing on women that I don't think guys are ever acknowledge or really know about.
Right. The biggest thing that was revealed to me in doing Fair Play was invisible work. And invisible work is mental. And it's all the crap that goes into running the house that is in her mind or in your spouse's mind or in your mind if you're a woman listening.
Or some men carry a lot of the load too. It's not just a gender thing, but
it's all that, what are we going to cook for dinner this week? What do the kids need for school this week? What do our pets need? Do they have a vet appointment? Like, what do we need to be doing with this stuff? What's with the house? What's with the mail? Is there a bill that needs to be paid? Okay. Or this is happening. And there's just so much invisible work. And that's what that Fair Play is really all about, is we can see what we can see, but you can't see what you can't see.
Right.
And it really brings to light the invisible work and helps men or the other spouse to understand that they are carrying such a load. And, if you entered into a marriage or a partnership or, some type of agreement that you want to be there for each other, you've got to really be there for each other.
Right.
And that really shifted my perspective into, you're right. I had no clue that Tuesday was Green Shirt Day.
Right.
I had no clue. I didn't even know that you went on Amazon and bought a green shirt. I didn't know that you wanted to make sure that it was washed in time for school. I didn't know that you woke up 5 minutes early to make sure you got them in that green shirt. Like, those are things that is the invisible work.
Right. Yeah. There's definitely a lot to it. So is there something you could do in your life that you could learn that would streamline some other aspect of your life so you could show up?
Right.
A little bit of a soapbox.
Yeah.
Not related to what we're talking about, but it's the daily action. How can you show up and be better at work, better at your relationships, your health, your religion? If you're a Christian, could you read the Bible? Could you read the Torah if you're Jewish? Whatever the situation is, could you show up and spend... How much time do you spend scrolling TikTok, Facebook, Instagram? Pick your social media.
Right.
I mean, we're guilty of it just as much as everyone else, but...
Well, I do have a very strong statement to make.
Okay, here we go.
So iPhone tracks your screen time.
I think all of them do, right?
Well, I get a report every week how much time I've spent on my screen and what apps I've spent on my screen, right?
Is it gross? Or was it gross?
It used to be.
Yeah.
It used to be really gross. But recently, this past Sunday, so a week ago, I got a notification that my screen time was down 70%.
That's because you have a 2-year-old demanding your attention every 5 seconds.
That is true, but also the app that I spent the most time on, my photos.
Aw. That's because you were scrolling with him, showing him pictures of himself. Because he's a narcissist.
Right.
Just
That's
kidding.
right.
He's not really, but it was funny.
No, I've been spending more time in our photos in the app, the photos.
I guess it's, you see what matters to you by where you spend your money and how you spend your time.
Right.
And that's very telling of where you're at mentally. So what is a daily action that people can take that might transform their life? Because it seems so insignificant. Taking 10 minutes a day. I've set 8 to 9 to have time to meditate, to reflect, to read, to just not just start my day at 8 o'clock digging straight into emails.
Yeah. And
when you read Miracle Morning or books like that, they say to get up early. I'm not getting up early. I'm tired. We got young kids. That is just not my reality.
Right.
But why not? I'm an entrepreneur, though. I don't have to report to a boss at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
And a lot of people who work from home or even work in an office, are you really expected to start working at 8 o'clock on the dot? If you're working in a...
You're expected to log in or be there at 8 a.m.
And some jobs, yes, absolutely. You have to show up. If you're working in a service industry or... Right. You know, in a manufacturing or something like that, this isn't an option. But could you use your commute instead of listening to the radio to listen and meditate and do things? But I've taken this hour of my workday and focused on reading. I listen to a subliminal. I do a hypnosis. And I really just dig into like things that are going to make me feel better. and focusing on my energy.
Now, how have you seen that daily action shift you as a person and shift the things in your life?
I mean, I've done it for a week, so I'm excited to see that long-term compound effect. But I feel like I'm not as hair on fire and like panicky all day.
And I see it just in our conversations. You have so many incredible ideas now because you're allowing yourself to spend time to think about this stuff.
Yeah.
And it is just super exciting to see where our business is going because of that small daily action.
The idea for this podcast episode came to me at like 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. But it came to me like half asleep, texted it to myself so I could remember it. But I was able to do it because you were up with the baby.
Right.
And it created space.
So my small daily action of making sure you had rest, me getting up with the kids, gave you freedom to see something important.
Right. To rest a little bit more. And then as I'm like halfway asleep, like lucid dreaming kind of state, I had this idea. And then I had an idea that went into our masterclass.
Yeah.
That was great.
It was.
And it's going to continue being part of our program. So just taking that time had such a profound impact of just rest.
Right.
And whether it was involved with you taking care of the kids or just me using that time for myself, taking downtime is my one thing right now. Because me working a solid 8-hour day is just not proving as fruitful. And let's go down a rabbit hole real quick. I have been into human design and I have realized that like my type is not the kind of person that needs to work. And that's how I've always functioned. So I'm excited to see how the shifts happen in me over the next couple months.
Right.
And acknowledging that I need rest because I've never given that to myself. And maybe sometimes some of us need to take our foot off the gas.
I'm so proud of you to hear you say that because I've always thought that. I've always thought, Tiffany, if you could just, take your foot off the gas, take a breath, you'll find a lot of joy from that. Although you are an extremely, motivated person.
Absolutely.
You want to tackle every task at hand and you always tackle every task with just the nth degree of accuracy.
Perfection.
Yeah, perfection.
But that's instilled in me of how I should be from another personality profile, the Enneagram. But by letting go and letting my subconscious and God and the universe and all the things work in me, I'm going to get more done.
That's right.
So big transformations.
That's right. So what are some other small things that our listeners can do in their daily lives? If you are just now growing your portfolio and you're getting into real estate investing, you could analyze a deal a day.
Yeah.
That is, and I have advocated for that a lot. Analyze a deal a day. You're going to get
15 minutes.
Yeah. You may get so good at analyzing deals every day that you can start analyzing other people's deals for them and start making money. You can start meditating, breathing, journal, and that'll help you as a person grow.
Right.
If you want to build lasting relationships with people around you that surround your life, you can call them.
Right.
You can send meaningful messages.
And if you don't tell people what you need and want, they're never going to know.
Yeah.
And I have found personally, just calling a friend and spending 15 minutes talking to them.
Yeah.
It gives me energy, but it also tells them what's going on in my life and what, and they show up for me in a way that they would have never been able to if they didn't have that conversation.
Right. And, whether it's a professional growth or a personal growth in contacting people, you are going to benefit from it.
Right. And I mean, you can contact real estate agents and see who's really making things happen in your market.
Yeah. I had a good friend of mine today reach out and say, do you take referrals for tenants? And I was like, I don't guess I understand. He's like, no, if I brought you a outstanding tenant for one of your properties, would you pay a referral fee? I said, if I didn't have to list the property, if I didn't have to deal with screening and you brought me a slam dunk of a tenant, I would pay you. Absolutely, I would pay you because you saved me so much time and headache.
Well, and there's that time, we have a property that's for rent right now and it's been on the market for 2 or 3 weeks. So it's 2 or 3 weeks of not having rent.
Right.
And they don't know what we have going on because we have properties that are coming available, but they're not listed and things like that. So absolutely, Yeah, gladly pay you.
Find me a tenant.
Right.
We've got another one vacant that just went vacant last week. So,
yeah.
And we got it turned over and we're looking for more tenants.
Right. So, absolutely. So you could also interview someone for your team. And it doesn't have to be like, I'm hiring this person to be 40 hours a week. You could talk to different real estate agents, talk to different lenders, see who you jive with and who has the knowledge of the industry.
And let them know what you're doing.
Right.
And say, if you reach out to a lender, right, and say, I am in the part of my life where I'm building a portfolio. I'm going to need money. I'm finding deals.
Right.
And I want to see if you're in my corner to fund a deal if I get one under contract.
Absolutely.
And that just builds that relationship. Don't sit around just analyzing deals all day just to run numbers. Use some of that time to go talk to people.
I disagree.
Whoa.
I disagree.
Okay.
You should spend your time calling people. I should spend my time analyzing deals.
You got to know your path. That's right.
Absolutely. So if you are a people person and good at relationships, definitely be doing that. If you're good at analyzing deals, go all in on that. Yes, you still have to find people for your team, but maybe you find someone like an Eric who's good at that and you partner 50-50 on things.
But you still have to take the time to call that person to build that team.
Absolutely.
I think that's where I was going with it.
I know. I'm just saying.
I also get what you're saying.
You have to do a little bit of everything and to a point, but you also don't want to spread yourself so thin that you aren't honing in on one skill.
Yeah.
You can't do it all on your own. So you have to outsource things. So yes, maybe calling people is important, but you could spend hours on the phone.
I could.
And you would love it.
I would.
It would be my nightmare.
Agreed.
So there's a level of finding the people that enjoy talking on the phone and partnering with them too.
Yeah. So Tiffany got into just a little bit about outsourcing. We just did a really productive outsourcing masterclass. If you're interested in seeing a recording or a replay of this masterclass, send us an email. We'll let you know how you can purchase this masterclass. The students that were in there, believe they really took a lot out of it. We're teaching the ins and outs of how to outsource, why it's important to outsource, and how your business is going to explode by doing it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think you could also focus on self-educating in that specialty area, which is one of the things we talk about in the masterclass is picking one part of the business and focusing in on that.
Yeah.
So like reading books on that topic, getting really specialized, digging deep.
Yeah, and if you're trying to improve your lifestyle, your personal fitness and all that, replace one of your snacks that you eat with something very healthy.
Yeah.
If you are used to eating a bag of chips with lunch every day, put an apple in your lunchbox.
Yeah, I need to stop eating those granola bars.
Those granola bars. High fructose corn syrup and corn syrup. You get 2 levels of corn syrup.
I've gotten to the point where the toddler steals half of it from me, though. So I think that's helping me. Not helping him, but helps me.
Helps you.
We just ordered more of them. So I guess we'll wait another week. And then...
I guess so.
Well, I hope this was valuable. I know we went on a few tangents, but I hope you can see that taking daily action leads to huge results.
It does.
I mean, you think about that Snickers bar. 1 Snickers bar a day is 22.5 pounds over a year. That's a lot.
That is the size of a 10-month-old kid.
I see what math you did there.
I just predict our 9-month-old is going to gain at least 2.5 pounds.
That's because he's a monster and eats everything in sight.
He is a monster. Yeah. But there are some people out there that are monsters too, damn it. They eat everything in sight too. They would call that the seafood diet. I see food, I eat it.
That's what you would be on if you could.
Yes, I would.
Uncle Sam won't let you.
That's right.
Well,
that's right.
Thank you for hanging out with us. And I just want to say, do you want to keep setting goals and wish your life would change? Or do you want to have your dream life and take action and find true success?
Yeah. Start taking daily action.
Yeah. It's that small 10 minutes a day.
That's
can have huge impacts on your life.
Right. And if you want ideas on some small daily action that you want to take, send us an email. We'll set up a
DM.
Yeah, just send us a DM or an email or whatever it is you want to contact us on. You can put a comment on this podcast or on the YouTube, wherever you're watching or listening. And we'll do our best to get back to you with the answer that you need. But we will get back to you.
Sounds good.
That sounds good.
All right.
All right. Let us know what kind of daily action you're taking. I want to know.
Yeah. Well, and you can join Investor Connect.
Yeah.
Eric posts once a week.
That's right.
So come chat with us, and it's Investor Connect on Facebook.
That's right.
For the people that aren't in our group. And yeah, we look forward to hearing from you.
All right. Y'all take care. Thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions or comments, we'd love to hear from you. Head over to onpurposeinvestor.com and sign up for our newsletter to get all the latest updates. If you haven't already, we'd really appreciate an honest review wherever you watch our podcast. All right, now go smash that subscribe and follow button for more tips on building your dream life. See you next week, Pathfinders.